Welcome to the Strategic Pursuit Podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Macias. I got a special guest today. His name is Daryl McCoy. He is the owner, the founder, and the operator of Destined for Greatness. Daryl, it's great to have you.
I'm glad to be here. Great opportunity.
Absolutely. Daryl, I want you to go back to how you got to this point in your journey. I know personally it is a long one, but let's try to condense it and uh and let people know how you got here.
It started back in 2017 when I was coaching high school basketball. I coached high school for 16 years. So I was on a path like trying to convert my life to God and not about wins and losses. And I watched a movie, The Game Stands Tall, and it actually changed my coaching method. So I put my coaching method about God and I said, God, lead me to a way that I can lead these kids to you and not just focus on the wins or losses. And he gave me a vision with Destined for Greatness in basketball training, which was one of my strong points. And we end up just starting Destined for Greatness. I fell in love with training and development more than just the actual coaching of the game. And right before COVID, everybody was going through the pandemic. It was a hard loss. And I started watching Kevin Hart. So I started watching how he used his gift that God gave him for a comedian and put a grind by it. So I made a note in my folder then. I said, I'll work so hard I'll never have to depend on no one again. And ever since then, I said, if Kevin Hart can grind like he did, I grind like I do with the game of basketball. And that's what got us to where we are today.
Oh, amazing, man. You always kind of had basketball in your life, right? From young. So how did how did that grind from seeing basketball as, a sport that you played or, something that you wanted to do as a hobby, or even pursue long term as a career? How did that come uh to from that to building, what you have now?
It was pretty much the same thing, just the grind behind it. I'm 5'5", so having grown up how I did in poverty, it wasn't a lot of avenues out besides sports. So it was something like I wanted different. So I just used the game of basketball to motivate me. Basketball was my escape from the outside world. So played basketball. Well, I played all sports, but basketball was just something that I always had. I always had a ball in my hand. I loved the game. And so once I started pursuing it outside of after school or college when I in coaching, it was like I I was someone told me like you can't expect the kids to play like you. You can't expect the kids to think like you because sometimes I get frustrated. How do you not see that pass? So and that made me understand that just because I have that vision, the other kid don't have the vision. So and that's when the thought process came on. As a coach, I have to help these kids see what I see. And one of the guys, Larry Dickens, he impacted my life from early childhood. He was one of the reasons why I am where I am now. He gave me a avenue saying, hey, you can be different, you can make it out. And I just rolled with that. I changed my mindset and just let God lead.
Amazing. I want to talk about goal setting because, all of you know, these things that have come into your life, it's been motivating you to keep going forward and keep, succeeding and achieving your goals. So, I mean, now at the point that you are there specific things that you're doing to keep getting those goals, driving towards them and attaining them?
So my whole life been goal driven. One of my favorite motivators was my eighth grade teacher that told me I'd be dead or in jail by the time I turned 18. So all through school, I worked hard to prove him wrong. And probably about 2 years ago, one of my good friends, he said, you're a great trainer, but you're unknown. So he said, don't nobody know you as a trainer. So once somebody challenged me, I create a goal. And once I create that goal, I don't stop until I accomplish that goal. So my goal is to be one of the top trainers in the world. My goal is to travel the world, impact kids, or impact lives, leading them to God. So, and I always tell God, if you do it for me, I'm gonna let everybody know it's you.
It's motivating, man. I remember you telling me your story and how you got to this point the very first time. Uh, this was actually on vacation for everybody that's listening, and I came back home, and man, the spark that I had, the motivation that I had, it stayed with me for a long time, man. And you really pushed me. I don't know if I told you that, but it's true, man. It is true. And I'm sure the kids that you're training, they're getting that same energy from you. And that's something that not a lot of people have that quality, especially in a trainer. I can imagine that that's, very important. Now, is that something that being a leader, because that's what you are at the end of the day to these kids, you're a leader. Is there anything that you're doing in order to, I guess, improve that skill?
A lot of it is just come within as who you are as a coach and who you are as a person. I'm real huge on character and I'm always uplifting, but it's more of you want kids to come in training and have a different avenue because so many coaches beat kids up. So many coaches make kids fall out of love with the game of basketball. So in here, it's like a safe space. You want to encourage the kids. You want to motivate them to let them know basketball is just one avenue is going to lead to something bigger, but you're going to develop a work ethic that's going to carry you further than the game of basketball. So you have to be motivated. And I guess because I did it so much as a coach and uplift kids when they're down, it just comes second nature now. I'm not really a huge reader mainly because time. But my wife got me doing the audio book, so a lot of times I ride on the road and I just listen to a book. I still don't never finish the book, but I always and then. But one of my true things besides watching Kevin Hart, I listen to Eric Thomas and Inky Johnson. I listen to how their grind. They're talking about you have to be motivation yourself. Sometimes you can't have somebody else outside motivated. Motivation just a spark, but that discipline is going to drive you past that spark. So you get to understanding the different meanings of the motivation. You get to understand, oh, I got to do this for me. I owe myself the opportunity to be great. So you can't always wait, and that's what I teach my players. No one's going to make you put the ball on the floor. You have to want to put the ball on the floor. You have to want to get better. You'll have to want to reach your full potential, and that's what gives me the drive to do what I do on a day-to-day basis.
As far as growing the business, now, obviously, you see different seasons in the business. Sometimes you get it, sometimes it's slow. It's a winter season and then it's summer. Things are booming. But throughout the process since Destined for Greatness started, what kind of systems have you implemented to achieve some growth?
Well, during football season you're going to lose a lot. AAU is going to be your mediocre season, but right before basketball season, a lot of kids will try to come. So you have to balance it out. But the overall goal is you can't count the cost of it. You just got to remember your purpose, remember why you do it, and trust God to handle the rest of it. So I don't go say, oh, I gotta spend less this month, or I can spend more this month. I mainly go to my day-to-day life. I actually, honestly, don't change nothing I do from day to day, from season to season, because my why is that it's some kid that's gonna need me that day. So I can't cancel practice. My wife say, well, it's your holidays, you should be resting. But it's some kid that needs a laughter. It's some kids that needs the gym and this accessibility today. And so that's what drives me to do what I do. And it's more of if God blessed me with $1 million, He blessed me with $1 million. But if long as I reach my and fulfill my purpose with Him, that's all that matters to me. He's gonna grow the business
Right.
regardless because I'm walking in His purpose. Another thing that helped me is that a lot of times I did find myself burnt out because I was still trying to, like, one of my goals now is to build a multi-court facility. So a lot of times I say, oh, well, I got to work harder. I got to work harder. But you get burnt out because you forget your purpose. So
Mm.
you're mentally drained because you're trying to work extra harder when you just remember your purpose of why you do it and let God handle the rest. So a lot of times I just say, well, my focus, and like I said, I tell God every day, if I make it, then I'm gonna let everybody know it's you.
Mm.
If I reach this goal, I'm gonna let everybody know it's you. It's not me. You gave me the mission, you gave me the strength, you gave me the vision and courage. I just pushed through it to follow your lead. And so a lot of times when people don't reach their full potential or they tap out, it's mainly because, like Eric Thomas said, the sweat equity, they didn't put the equity in, so it's easy for them to quit. My grind and faith in God is gonna help me reach all my goals and dreams. Just become a billionaire, whereas become a millionaire. But the overall importance is how many lives did I impact on the journey? And that's the overall goal.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Everybody has that mission in life. And I think a lot of people, they lose vision of that, right? Throughout the journey, things get difficult, and sometimes you need that to bring you back. You like myself, God is the one that brings me back. Uh, but I mean, for anybody else, whatever it might be, right? You got to have that foundation. It could be your family or whatever it is, to bring you back and really have you focus in on what your mission was to begin with, right?
Yeah, because we all slip. Because there was at times when the revenue was coming in, a kid like me from poverty never saw that type of money. So you're like, oh well, the money's coming in like this. But God will find a way to humble you, and either you take heed to it or you crash. And I was just able to take heed to it. So I knew I was a better person than what I was pursuing. So I changed the way I was thinking and changed my thought process.
Yeah. No, and I mean, there's a challenge there, right? It's a mental challenge, but I want to know, you're running a business, right? And you've been successful to this point. That's monetizing what you had, that vision that you had. And, like we were saying before, sometimes people go astray and get greedy, or other things, come into the certain roadblocks come into their way, and they lose vision of their mission. But talk about that balance, the love for the game, and then running the company, and also holding this business together and wanting to grow it.
That still comes from a motto. I stumbled across a quote that says, God doesn't bless competition. So it makes me like, even to today, if I feel that someone is competing against me, I don't follow them on social media because I don't want to know what they're doing somewhere else. I want to focus on what God got me, the kids that God brought in front of me, and I work on that. So a lot of it comes from the growth comes from staying in your own lane, running your own race, quit worrying about what everybody else is doing, focus on and build what you have. We all have these goals of, like me being one of the top trainers in the world. So I'm looking past this gym. I'm working with these kids that use as revenue, saying, hey, I can travel to Canada and do a camp. So I inspire 250 kids in Canada. Or I can go into Brazil or Greece. That's another 250 kids that I led to God. And so even if the building or the business don't grow, I'm still growing as a person and fulfilling my purpose. So I don't. I try hard not to focus on what other people are doing. I don't compete with them. I don't compare myself to them. One of my guys, Chris Rivers, he told me, I said, man, I'm trying to be like Gannon Baker, because Gannon Baker full of energy. He said, why you try to be like that? I said, right now he's got me. He's in more better shape than me. I got to get in shape. He said, but answer me this: why can't you both be great? And that changed my thought process. So I don't have to be like Gannon. I don't have to be better than Gannon. If what he does is working, what I do works just as well for me. And so I got out of the competition in the comparison stage, especially because if I want to receive my blessing from God, He's not going to bless me when I'm competing with against others.
Absolutely. I can't agree more. Talk about what you're implementing right now in your business. I know, we were talking about branding before we hopped on the call, but what do you think other entrepreneurs who are trying to get themselves out there, through social media, what can they implement, or what have you seen working for you?
Well, building a team, that's the most important part. A lot of times we try to do it up ourselves to cut the cost. God has led some people that in my journey that really helped me. He led some that I thought that was going to help me, but it didn't pan out. But once I fully put it in Him and surrendered it all to Him, He has led some people from social media. We got over, like I mentioned, the last 60 days, we got over 11,000 followers. Kyrie Irving, recently Sean Bradley, wife and son start following me on social media. You have actors, you have professional players overseas. So I'm right now we're working on using my gift, same thing, same mission, but just different things. We're working on online training. I have some books that we released about 2 months ago. It's manual training and workbooks. We have a book that I wrote called Built to Win, whereas I'm attacking the mindset of a player and not just the skill set of a player. So all those, we're working on building an app. So we're still trying to reach as many people as possible, but we're trying to use different things to reach them and not just me day-to-day training. And so I feel like that's how we're going to really grow the brand, because the Destined for Greatness, like I told you before, rep stands for doing it for God. So long as I lead people to Him and fulfill His purpose, everything else is a blessing.
That's very important. I completely agree with building a team, people who have that same mission as you do, that same focus, putting the blinders on, and, everybody going towards that. But you did mention, you know, reaching people different ways. You talked about podcasts, right? Or audiobooks, right? Versus actual reading. That's just one person who likes to read versus the other person who really doesn't. They rather listen or maybe they don't have time for it. So, but that's just reaching that person, right? So I get that completely. Is there anything as far as the journey so far? Is there anything that you would recommend to somebody who's, maybe they're a little bit stuck and they're trying to push forward? Is there something that you would say to them to get them over that self-doubt?
Big thing, the only support that you really need is yourself. If you believe in yourself and you want to chase that dream, you're going to make it happen. You hear a lot of times that people say, well, you have to make a plan B if plan A don't work. With me and my mindset is there is no plan B. Plan A has to work. If plan A doesn't work this way, I'll revamp that plan and still attack plan A for the same common goal. And just believe in yourself and don't let others doubt. They told me Destined for Greatness would work. They said people would invest in it. People don't need training. They used to tell me I train with cones. I'm a ball handling trainer. So you hear it all. You hear all the doubts. But as long as you believe in yourself and you fulfill and you believe in your purpose and the vision from God, just keep moving. Don't stop. Quitting is not an option, and just keep pursuing your passion. But make sure you understand your why of why you're doing it, and not just looking at the revenues. Because if you understand your why, you're going to learn more in the process than you do once you get there. And so the process is going to take you to another level.
Is there any mistakes or regrets that you might have made throughout this journey so far that you maybe could go back and change?
I tell my kids all the time, a mistake is not a mistake unless you learn and grow from it. So I feel like if I have to redo those mistakes, I wouldn't be who I am today. So those mistakes made me, I used to tell everybody my plans of what's going on. And some people who you thought cared about you actually betrayed you. So I wouldn't change anything because it made me who I am and I grew from it. I wouldn't trust that some people in the program, the organization, but like I said, that's God' way of allowing me to choose who, because I'm stricter on what coaches I bring in. At first, where if it's a kid, I mean parent or somebody who played ball who actually have the knowledge, I bring them in. But all of them wasn't for the same purpose. So a lot of them was for the money. A lot of them was for they didn't have the mindset to uplift kids. They had the mindset to win. And so now it made me strategically put who I have with what team and what kids. So I had some mistakes that I made, but I wouldn't change them because if I change them, I wouldn't be right here. I'd probably be somebody different.
Yeah, I can't agree more, man. Everybody's journey set out for them, and you know what? Everything that you go through is to get to the point that you're at right now. So God bless, man. I appreciate you coming on the show and giving us your time. I know a lot of people are gonna get a lot of insight out of this. They're gonna leave this and they're gonna go do what we're putting back on doing. It's motivating needs it.
Pass it forward. That's the mindset.